Thank you so much for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Annette Montgomery. Today, Alexander Thomas appeared in Superior Criminal Court on those allegations. Fox 61's Tim Lateau is at the courthouse with the new details revealed about Thomas's alleged crimes.
A tearful former pastor is accused of embezzling more than $20,000 from the church he worked at. The judge denied Thomas's request to enter the accelerated rehabilitation program, which would have allowed him to avoid jail time and have the charges dismissed.
Based upon the fact of the victim of this crime, a nonprofit, the work that they do, $20,000 is quite a lot of money.
Tears swelled in the eyes of Hartford City Council member Alexander Thomas while in court Friday. Thomas is accused of stealing more than $20,000 from South Church in Hartford. There he was a pastor and director of youth and family ministries. Thomas was fired once the missing funds were brought to light. His defense attorney, Ronald Johnson, says he's willing to pay the alleged stolen funds back.
Indicated in terms of an email whether or not my client would be open to paying restitution, and of course I indicated yes.
According to the arrest warrant, police say Thomas embezzled the funds using a church credit card over the course of a year. Investigators say he set up 2 shell PayPal accounts he named Helping Common Man and Youth International Works. Thomas is accused of placing the funds in those accounts, then transferring them to his personal account in what prosecutors say was an apparent effort to cover up his tracks.
Larceny, embezzlement, these are specific intent crimes, so there appears to be a degree of planning in this. It wasn't something that happened once.
Thomas applied for Connecticut's Accelerated Rehabilitation Program, which lets nonviolent first-time defendants avoid jail time and have their charges erased from record. South Church and the state's attorney's office objected to this motion, and Judge Maura Buckley agreed.
The court has a very hard time finding that he's not likely to offend in the future with that course of alleged conduct.
Johnson argued Thomas wasn't living a lavish lifestyle with the alleged stolen funds. Court documents reveal some of the transactions were PayPal, Amazon, fast food, and ATM cash withdrawals.
It wasn't, in my opinion, a situation where he was trying to magnify a gregarious lifestyle.
Thomas is now working for Amazon to support his wife and 3-year-old son. He remains a council member in the city of Hartford, but lost his minority leadership seat. He does not intend on running for another term. Johnson pointed out that much of the 29-year-old's career has been spent helping nonprofits until this point. It's something Buckley advises to be taken into consideration as a trial and sentencing are now possibly in Thomas's future.
These are things that courts, and I would hope state's attorneys consider in negotiations and discussions about the case.
Thomas is due back in court on April 17th. His attorney tells me he plans to enter a plea deal that day. In Hartford, Tim Lateau, Fox 61.
Well, it's finally the weekend, and the good news is there are some warmer weather days ahead. Meteorologist Sam Sampieri is here with the first check of the forecast. Sam, we're seeing a mixed bag when it comes to this weekend's forecast.
That's right, and we have to be careful tonight and, of course, early tomorrow morning for some icy spots. We're down at and below freezing in a couple of towns, especially in northwestern Connecticut. You can see them. I don't need to read the towns to you. We're in the mid-30s and upper 30s down along the shoreline, and everybody else in between, anywhere from 33 in Willimantic to 37 in Bridgeport. We're starting to see some fog backing in, and we're going to keep that going. So overnight, we're going to have clouds and fog, and not much in the way of wind. You could see a little bit of drizzle there. System up to the north and west isn't going to bother us. Temperatures holding steady around freezing. Watch out for those icy spots tomorrow morning, and during the day tomorrow, some fog, and then during the afternoon, highs reaching only the lower and middle 40s during the afternoon. We're going to keep the clouds in, and then some rain tomorrow night. Coming up, I'll detail those showers, and then a nice warming trend ahead. Details coming up in a few minutes. Annette?
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Sam. Well, the Greater Hartford St. Patrick's Day Parade is tomorrow, and if you're going to be in the area, there are some road closures to be aware of. Starting at 9:30 in the morning, Capitol Avenue, Hungerford Street, Oak Street, Washington Street, and Trinity Street will be closed between certain side streets. And as it gets closer to parade time, more side streets will close. The parade begins at 11 a.m. at the state capitol and then ends at Memorial Arch. They'll be going down Capitol to Asylum, then to Ford Street, and the roads will reopen at 3. And of course, with the big day, it also means big business. Fox 61's Stephen Reel spoke with local businesses as they prepared for one of their busiest days of the year.
While you may think you may have seen a busy downtown Hartford, business owners right here on Pratt Street behind me tell me you haven't seen anything quite like the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Oh, it gets insane. It gets insanely packed.
On the eve of Hartford St. Patrick's Day Parade,
You will not be able to see the street.
businesses like Sunbury Restaurant and Bar have got their plans ready to go for this staple celebration. Green tinsel, green drinks, and a whole lot of Irish fanfare. Bartenders like Brian Calero have gotten used to.
We're gonna have all of our drink stands right here. Literally, the party starts going at like 9, 10. Everyone pops out.
It's 10, 20 times busier than what it normally is. It's always been the biggest, the best, the brightest day of the year.
For Ireland's own Johnny Vaughan and the crew at his Pratt Street bar, the celebration is a homecoming of sorts.
People with their Irish heritage likes to come out. A lot of families who've been coming for years and years and years decide to meet their friends here. They have the same spot, they tell the same jokes, have the same drinks, and cheer out.
And in the owner's own words, it's a full hands-on-deck kind of day, with extra staff to handle the extra specials, the extra service, and keep up with the demand and the vibes.
And if you're out there and you're having fun, if you have too much fun, make sure you get home safely.
The parade starts at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and we'll have more information on our website, fox61.com. In Hartford, Stephen Reels, Fox 61.
Thank you, Stephen. Well, former New Haven Police Chief Carl Jacobson faced a judge this morning, 2 weeks after he turned himself in on charges related to embezzlement. It's estimated the former police chief embezzled more than $85,000 from 2 New Haven city funds. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson shares what his attorney now wants from the community.
Former New Haven Police Chief Carl Jacobson had a fairly quick hearing Friday, but while not much happened in court, his attorney had a lot to say outside of it, urging everyone to hold their opinion until more information is released.
Carl Jacobson has done a tremendous amount of good for the people of New Haven. He has devoted his entire professional career to helping others, and for those who would condemn him based on his arrest, I ask you for grace. And please withhold judgment until you have a fuller understanding of all the facts.
That was Jacobson's attorney Greg Suratelli speaking on Jacobson's behalf. The city alleges Jacobson embezzled $85,500 from 2 of the city's funds. Investigators say $81,000 of the money was taken from the police department's narcotic enforcement program fund between January 1st, 2024 and January 5th, 2025. They also say $4,000 was taken from the New Haven Police Activity League between December 23rd and 24th of 2025. They made the connection to Jacobson after money from both funds were found in Jacobson's personal checking account. In court, the prosecution said discovery is ongoing, and the court said they are putting conditions of release on Jacobson while out on bond.
We also had an in-chambers discussion.
Among those conditions were for Jacobson to not participate in online gambling, stay outside of Connecticut casinos, and no access to employers' funds. Suratelli says he does not believe Jacobson has a gambling problem. Despite Jacobson's arrest warrant showing in the span of a year, he lost more than $200,000 gambling while wagering more than $4.4 million.
I have gotten emails, phone calls, text messages from people in law enforcement, active members of law enforcement, retired members of law enforcement, people in the community, people from outside the state. Everyone has had remarkable things to say about him. And it's unfortunate, but I think knowing that he has such a great support network for him certainly is a very good thing.
After Jacobson resigned, the city of New Haven admitted there were lapses in funding oversight, which they believe contributed to Jacobson's alleged misuse of the funds. They announced new policy changes for how these funds will be managed in the future.
Jacobson's next court date will be March 19th. In New Haven, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
Thank you, Jamel. Well, the Connecticut Public Utilities Regulatory Authority, or PURA, has now reversed its decision on the proposed sale of Aquarion. Today, PURA put out a proposed final decision to approve the sale to a new nonprofit. PURA originally denied the sale in November, but Aquarion appealed, and a court made PURA reconsider the sale. Earlier this week, we told you that state leaders were against the sale. Attorney General William Tong has said it would double household bills and reduce public oversight of water utility rates and consumer protections. Aquarion is currently owned by Eversource. In a statement, Eversource calls this a constructive development and says it is currently considering the conditions outlined in PURA's decision. Again, this is just a preliminary decision. The final decision is expected by March 25th. Right now, the state has suspended the liquor permit for a downtown Hartford bar effective immediately. The Consumer Protection Department says the decision surrounding White Rabbit follows repeated police calls, public safety concerns, and the business failing to follow an order from the Hartford police chief to hire off-duty officers. The bar now cannot sell or serve alcohol through March 10th, when its provisional permit is set to expire. The Osborne Correctional Institution in Somers is on lockdown right now while crews repair a water main break. Officials say this happened this morning. They tell us right now inmates and staff are drinking from bottled water and using portable sinks and toilets. However, multiple people have called into our newsroom regarding lack of running water and flushing toilets. We did reach out to the DOC for comment on these concerns and have yet to hear back. At this time, the DOC has not said when repairs are expected to be complete. The death of a man shot several times by a Hartford police officer last week has now been ruled a homicide. Stephen Jones died a few days after he was shot. The chief medical examiner's office says Jones died from, quote, complications of gunshot wounds involving the torso. Last Friday, a family member called 911 from Blue Hills Avenue saying Jones was having a mental health crisis and armed with a knife. Video there shows Officer Joseph Magnano backing up as Jones walked toward him. Magnano then fired 9 shots at Jones. Right now, an investigation into the shooting is still underway.